up stories. All right, fantastic. We are now recording, which I guess technically means that we're live. If somebody wants to go into the general channel and let people know, I'm going to kick off the event. Start the event. Boom. Look, Discord does cool shit for me. Hooray, hooray. Booyah. Yeah, Val is amazing. Val's our fucking, is our homie. All right, we will be joined by a mystery panel of guests tonight. First and foremost, thank you everybody. It's gonna be me and Corin just losing our shit. So I have the distinct privilege, pleasure, honor to be joined by Corin, the finest of chairs, who has put up with my shit and my insanity, and I don't think any of you understand how hard Corin works. So first and foremost, just a huge shout out to Corin. Thank you so much for all of the work that you've been doing behind the scenes to help our committees get moving. And it's the chair is such a project management and like keeping people moving position. So Corin, I just want to start out telling you thank you and how much I appreciate you.
You're welcome, and thank you.
You're welcome. We see you, friend. So if you have not joined us before, oh hey, there's Jen. Jen, you ready to come on stage? Jen's like, what? It's fine, Jen. It's fine. Just let it happen. Hopefully that's the right Jen. Otherwise, I'm fucked. Otherwise, hi, Jen from Portland Plot. Welcome to the stage. So hi, I'm your president. And you're fine. There's no rush, friend. As a reminder, we are looking for a replacement for me. And if you are interested in, not because I don't love all of you very, very much, but because I have a finite number of hours with which to do things, and my job, unfortunately, is exceptionally demanding. And so I am going to be kind of fading into the background a little bit. But that said, we are looking for the next Refuge president. So if you or someone you know or someone that you can convince is willing to put together a LARP resume, please do send that to both Corin and I. We gather resumes, we try and get a crop of great, fantastic candidates together, and then we interview you, and then you go through an interview with the board. And we're actually we are going to begin our process with secretary very, very shortly here. So, but if you're, or someone you know, or someone that you can volunteer on my behalf, that you think is a good candidate, please do have them put a resume together. All right. So tonight we are, this is our July Refuge Fireside chat. Tonight was kind of one of those evenings where before I transition out, one of my passions is data visualization. And for those of you who have never played another LARP, the fact that Refuge has a database is actually a huge benefit. Not all LARPs have databases. We at Refuge are blessed to have a pretty damn good database, actually. You're going to learn more about it tonight than you probably ever wanted. It will be presented to you with pictures. This is a picture-oriented experience, which is why I'm sharing my screen. But before we get to that tonight, I wanted to make sure that we also took a moment to appreciate RPC and the work that Jen and Jen's team has done. We, as a network, don't grow unless we start promoting ourselves and being accessible and landing an SEO footprint. So as part of that, I and or Corin sort of strong-arm Jen into being up on stage, and part of that is to talk about the growth, and when you're ready, I am happy to pull you up, friend. You let me know. Okay. Buttons. So many of you may have noticed that there is a newsletter now that we have, and which is super, super excited. Oh, Mitch, you're going to love this. You're going to both love and hate this. You are going to be both angry and super ecstatic by the end of this call. Um, I say that with love. Um, but and Jen, let me know if Discord is being a shit. Um, so I think that there are a lot of things that we've tried to be more transparent with you guys. That's part of why we do these videos. And part of the reason why we've moved in this direction to being more transparent with you guys is so that we can be more effective, we can be more efficient, and we can start to recruit and grow. There we go. Hi, friend. I'm clicking. Yes, yes. I would like to let you speak. Hold on. Invite to speak. We're gonna find out if it worked. Hey, there's Jen. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
And
Hello.
we can hear you.
Anyway, please
continue
your thought.
No, not at all. Let me so anyway, part of as we grow as a network, right? And when I say grow, I mean foundationally, right? So we have some technical debt. All of you are very aware of this. We have not shied away from talking about this. We have technical debt. We also have some rules debt. Like, so there are some things that we are still working through, that RRC is working through. Last month you heard from Brett, who was kind enough to come on stage and rant about Green Lantern, which is probably some of the better television that we've produced. And so I think it's really exciting to see the direction that the network is going as a whole. And it's a process, right? And that's part of the reason why we do these calls, is we want to keep ourselves accountable, and that's why we publish them onto YouTube. And as part of that, we have Jen, who's been kind enough to come up on stage. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate it. Can I trouble you just to tell us, like, where you're from, who you play, how long you've been LARPing, and, like, just a little bit about yourself? Because I have actually never met you in person, I don't think.
That's not true. We were both at Nationals. I think interacted with you as an NPC at Nationals for like a whole 10 seconds.
There we go.
But no, that I don't think that really counts as a meeting.
Not really.
Hi, thank you for doing this. For those watching, this was something I was not made aware of super ahead of time.
That's on me.
I'm very flattered.
That's on me.
I'm Jen. Hello, sorry, it blipped on me. I play largely in Seattle. I play largely in Seattle and Portland. I am on the plot team for the Off campaign in Portland, Thefrin. It's a level capped campaign. It's low level. It's 40. We're starting at 41 XP, and that starts in 3 weeks. So if you want to come to Portland and play a bitty character in our fun sandbox, we're very excited about it. I play a character named Niobe, who kind of started as a very like ingenue, like I remember nothing, fish out of water, amnesiac, like oracle seer type, and she's been around for 2 years, and has sort of started to learn some lessons and is a little less bright and shiny and cinnamon roll, and it's been a fun coming of age story for her. So that's me in Refuge. I'm very excited to be here, and I really have adored everything I've gotten to do as a part of RPC.
So tell me a little bit about your crack team for RPC.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we did do a like intro to the team presentation like a couple firesides back. But we have some really phenomenal people on here. Big shout out to Kendall in particular. Right now she's been sort of the person leading the charge on the newsletter and putting in the work every week to put all the lovely stuff in there. That the newsletter is sort of her project that she manages, and I just help her get what she needs and make it happen. And every time it's great. So we're very grateful to have Kendall on board. Also, we have from the Canadian chapters, Sam and Ryan are sort of finally taking up the like video content podcast mantle that I know Sam in particular has wanted to take up for years. It's been, I'm very grateful to kind of see someone who wants to do something passionately for our community and just be like, sure, like go do. Like the thing is that like even if I have a like agenda of things I think should get done, if the people working on them aren't passionate, it's not going to get done,
Right.
especially in a volunteer organization. It's far more effective to just figure out what other people are passionate about and what they want to do and give them the space to really make that step themselves. And you know, because that way there's still net good being done for the community. So that's a longer term project. And you know, they're working away on it, they're cranking on concepts and getting ready for producing some content. And you know, we're hoping next year to start debuting and drip feeding content, and we're really excited. um Unfortunately, we had to, since last time, a couple members of RPC had to step away for just life and health reasons, and we adore them, and they were amazing members of the community, and we wish them nothing but the best. Since then, Ryan's wife has stepped on, Shar, and she's managing our social media content. And I believe as of yesterday or today, we have our some socials live again. I think our Facebook,
Congrats.
our Blue Sky, and our, yeah, and our Insta are all living and active with some posts, which is exciting. We're so excited. And yeah,
Can we
fantastic.
drop those
So
in the
we're
chat?
as
Kendall?
yes,
Well,
we
Jen's talking.
can.
Kendall or somebody else from the team, if you want to
Thanks,
drop those in the
Kendall.
chat,
Thank you.
yay! Because we certainly want to get everybody
And this
subbed.
is the project I was, you know, probably the most excited about, just because this is where we're going to get discoverability. This is where we're going to get people who aren't in our discords and community already. And Shar has, you know, really came in a clinch position when we didn't really know like what to do with our social media team, kind of needing to step away, and has just completely like on the ball from the minute she got in, gotten the engine moving. And like I feel so much better having that just right there when we needed it. And our socials are coming back, and they're coming alive, and we're doing things with them, and it feels good. So that's the team. That's what we're doing. We really like it. They do like 90% of the work. I mostly like help them get what they need and do what they need to do the things they are passionate and excited about. You know, I
Is
just try to take care of the red tape so that they don't have to.
and that makes you a good project manager. Is there anything that the community at large could deliver to you in terms of content, or like I handed over thousands of pictures. Is there anything from a crowdsourcing perspective that would help RPC? Just given that we have a 11 audience members at the moment listening in.
Yes. So there is a media submission form, which, Kendall, if you have the link to that handy, you can drop that in chat. I would appreciate that. It's basically just like if you have something visual or media oriented to give to us, um, excuse me, I'm drinking a seltzer. Probably not the best choice for public speaking.
It's okay.
All right. So like if you get like really rad photos at events and you think that we could use them to promote the game on socials, if you're a crafter and you want to show off like the stuff that you've made, we'd love to feature you. Last newsletter, you
Ooh.
saw that we featured Seattle artist Alex Dopp, who of their own free time and volition just made an entire tarot deck of the entire Seattle community like characters, and it's gorgeous. And like I love getting to showcase the amazing talent in our community. And also just like memes, like if you make a dumb meme
I'm
about
here for the
LARP,
memes.
if you
I'm
know one,
exclusively here for the
just
memes.
like it's you know, like it's so easy to just post it on social media. The big thing caveat here is like, a, make sure if you haven't made all of the content you're sharing, make sure that they sign
Permission.
off on us using it ahead of time. We are trusting you to do that due diligence. And if we get complaints coming in, then we're gonna have to change how we take in content, which will make me very sad because I like it to be easy and where we all trust each other. um but really, the most, you know, the best thing community members can do to support the efforts of RPC is engage with, you know, send us stuff they think would be great for sharing on social media and in these spaces, and otherwise just like engaging with us on social media. I know not everyone here is a social media person, and that's
That's
fine.
okay. That's fine.
Look, I'm I'm barely I look at Instagram maybe once a month, maybe like it's you don't have to be a social media person, but if you are, if you want to just like engage with the content and like reply to things and smash that like, but all the
Smash that
annoying
like
things
and
like it.
subscribe. Smash it.
Yeah, I mean it sounds annoying as heck,
It's
and
true
it is,
though.
but it's like it makes a difference in the algorithms, and
Yep.
that will adjust whether or
If you're watching this on YouTube and this is no longer live, smash that like and subscribe button and leave us a comment below. Like, please. Please.
Yeah. No, and the reason why people ask for that is because if you get enough engagement on posts, then the
Yeah.
algorithm surfaces it to new people, which means the algorithm will decide, hey, this person likes LARP things, and this is an active LARP page. Let's show it to them. And then we could have a new prospective player in our game.
Right.
So it sounds dumb and annoying,
It's the
but please, it's
algo.
actually very important.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just wanna
Uh,
dogpile on top of that. Yes. Everything Jen just said. Like, as a marketer, it's so hard. Today, it's really hard for us as LARPing marketers without a real budget behind us, right? So if I looked at Jen and I was like, here's $500, like, go nuts, buy some Facebook ads. Like, we could do targeted ads inside of Facebook or Insta, and it's very, very cost effective, but we don't have those kinds of markets. So we rely on you guys in terms of crowdsourcing to help elevate that. So when every single time you post a picture of your character on your social media and you're like, I love Refuge and I love my character, and like you write your fanfic post about whatever your character's dealing with, that helps us in the long run. Also, I do want to ask Jen, would the newsletter accept pieces written by players about their characters? Is that like, and this is me just spitballing like live, is that a thing that you guys would be interested in?
So Kendall is very interested in that. I am also interested in that. So this is one of my pet projects that I don't have time for, and therefore like I don't prioritize, but something I do hope to do at some point is actually something a little more formal than just testimonials in in the newsletter. I think if people want to write into like basically like, hey, I think this other player is great, and feature them. Like we do the monthly player features in the newsletters where we sort of try to highlight the different members of our community that are just like making it great in many different ways and contribute to it, or are just like a joy to role play with and a joy
Right.
to be with. But one of my like pet projects, so I'm a former academic, and something I'd love to do is like an open call for essays at some point where people write about sort of the relationship between themselves and their characters, and like how one informs the other,
Yeah.
and sort of like I want to call it, the gif of Khalid where it's like, congratulations, you played yourself. Like that's kind of that's kind of the theme I'm going for.
Right.
Um,
Oh, I love it.
and at some point in the next couple months, once I feel like both newsletter and socials are sort of in a like stable spot,
Right.
I'd love to sort of open for that. But if people are already like, I totally like, if people are already in a position where like they have that essay written, I mean, you can always send whatever you want to the RPC email, which I believe is RPC at refugelarp.org now, ORG, not the com. And you know, once we get to a more formal place, you'll hear about it. I've gotten pretty good at using the announcement button. So,
It's
but in the
true.
meantime, if you want to casually, start writing some things up, if you want something featured in the newsletter, like if there's another player in your community that you're like, I think this player deserves to be highlighted because they're just always so darn great. Kendall is the point person
Okay.
on newsletter, so please reach out to Kendall if you have any interest in sort of doing that, in something on a little more casual, as opposed to like, here's a 5-page essay about the relationship between my depression and this character, right? Um,
That's the type of
I'm
thing I
just
think people can
saying,
relate to. Like how LARPing
yeah,
has like is so neurodivergent friendly, and how our neurospicy friends use LARP to sort of explore coping mechanisms or organizational styles. Like, I cannot tell you how organized all my neurospicy friends are for LARP. Some of them, some of them will pull it over into real life, which I kind of love.
Yeah. And I'm going to highlight what Kendall posted in the chat, which is the link to like a form that we recently created, so that you can, recommend your friend or highlight your friend that you feel like deserves a spotlight. And nice, easy, fill out a form, no other effort required. But yeah, no, I think obviously LARP is a very powerful tool that when used effectively can be really beneficial for people of all mental health stripes. And it certainly has helped me figure out several things about myself. And I love opening up spaces for us to talk about that. So I'm so grateful to the positive reception that RPC's labor has had so far. I know the team has just been so thrilled to see it. I've been thrilled to see it. Everyone involved just wants to make our community as big and wide and wonderful as possible. And we're grateful to be here and to do this. And it's not that much work when at the end of the day, like, we get to see the impact of it on the community. So
it's all the good feels, friend. All the good feels. Well, Jen, thank you for coming up and hanging out with us. I have been a chatty Kathy. Corin, I want to make sure. Is there anything else that you want to ask Jen, or do we want to drive it into the weird data thing? By the way, Jen, you're stuck up here to also. I need comments as we go through, because Corin's seen the document.
I'm seeing the comments. I see.
You are 100% my everyman through this. But Corin, do you want to? I just wanted to give you the floor and give you the opportunity to chat as well.
I think that's good.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have anything on the top of my mind right now.
I'm good. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that sweet data. So Corin and I have actually been going back and forth for like the last 48 hours on this particular document that I'm going to be sharing. So Corin's got the inside track. There are other people in this audience who may also have the inside track. But let me see if this is actually going to let me share my screen. Everybody cross your fingers, friends. This is where it gets weird. Oh my God. All right. Hide your kids. Hide your wife. Yes, that's correct. Begin the PowerPoint, Val. Let's see if she's going to do it. Come on, Discord. I believe in you. All right, it's getting spicy. Hold on. I know you can do it. It's like having a moment. Oh, I know why. Hold on. It's because there's a dialogue box that pops up that I can't see. There it is. And it's gonna go, hey Juliet. All right. When you guys watch the replay and you're like, why does Juliet look like that she's having some kind of stroke? It's because I am. All right. Friends in the chat and friends on the call, I am relying on you to confirm that you can actually see things.
It's loading in for me. So I see the squares doing the do-si-do.
Okay, all right. Chat friends, this is...
But Corin sees.
And Val does as well.
Others can also see.
Okay, fantastic. Loading boxes still. Okay, so I'm going to talk through each of the slides, obviously. If people are feeling motivated, obviously drop screenshots in the chat. This first one is basically the disclaimer. Hold on, I'm going to hide this so I can actually see... Yes, I'm sharing a screen. Okay. So data visualization in our database is extremely complicated. Our database, while awesome, is not designed. Oh, and by the way, I will be drinking through this because this was like a lot of work. So tonight's alcoholic beverage is from Deadwood Meadery here in Las Vegas. And this is Hearth. It's a pomegranate mead with cinnamon. Jen fell off. Jen will come back. All right, well, cheers. Cheers to Refuge. If you are enjoying a spicy beverage, I encourage you to share it in the chat. All right, so our database was built before the split in 2020. And it's hosted on an app that's actually well known. It's Heroku. This costs us about $160 a month as a network. So when people ask, Jen, I got you, hold on. I'm gonna click on a Jen. I believe you have an invite to speak, my friend. By the way, GMs don't work, as a reminder. Otherwise, I'm going to ask Corin to pull. Corin, if you can pull Jen up on stage, that'd be stellar.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, hey. So anyway, as I was saying, God damn it, go backwards. There we go. We're hosted on Heroku. This is what many of the dues go to, right? This is not a cheap thing to do. So we pay $160 a month. That's assuming that our RTC team is not doing a bunch of extra like pushes and pulls to the source code. But it is a major expense, and I wanted to be transparent with you guys and let you know everybody's like, where's the money go, right? The other thing that's really important to mention here is that every single rules change. So, right, we had Brett with us last week. Even if we change wording on a rule, there's a push that has to be made to our database. And every single time we change a rule and how it functions and how it interacts with other things, there has to be an update to the database. And so this is not a simple nor a trivial thing. This is why we all love and appreciate RTC. But the other thing that I want to mention is that we do have a large number of players who only update their characters on the database and are mostly inactive at live events. I'm one of those people. Friends, I play Refuge once a year. Like, I will be at the campaign closer for Etheria in August. But the last game I played was Nationals. So I just want to try. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of cat tossing. Lexa's really into it. Oh, the other thing, little ASMR. This is for Rachel. There you go, Rachel. Nails ASMR. Okay, sorry, this was from a conversation earlier. My nails are painted for San Diego Comic-Con. They're in pop art. All right, so let's move right along towards the data. Many of you are data professionals. The data that you're going to be seeing tonight is pulled between July 1st and July 16th, which was yesterday's date, unless it's otherwise stated. Day games are included in this data. It's super, super important. Reference to levels should be taken with a grain of salt due to reporting. I just want to be very transparent with you guys. There is a little bit of talking about the high Bs through this presentation. It's really towards the back end. But not all of the XP reporting from a batch standpoint is terribly accurate. This is funny. I start to see my owners dropping in. They're like, I want to hear what the fuck's going on in the data thing. So just keep those things in mind. The classes, if you have changed your class in the last 12 months, it may not be accurately reported just because how the database lets us look at these things is a little quirky. That's why it takes so long to do this. 8 hours. Data focuses on PC attendance and does not reflect NPC or staff attendance. This is really, really important. We're only looking at characters that when you come in, you pre-reg as a PC. So if you pre-reg as an NPC or you bought back, you may not be reflected in this data, right? So I have played one game in the last 12 months. One. So I appear in the data set once, but holy shit, have I been doing buybacks. So, like, we wanted to make sure that we're reflecting the active player base for this data set. So here's some baseline information on Refuge as it stands today. Jen logged in just in time. Excellent.
Sorry, no, we were having some issues, but we're good now.
It's okay. Discord's quirky as shit. All right, so I'm going to go through this kind of and what they all mean and all that good stuff. So I think some of the important numbers are, as you see in the middle, 53 games since July 2023. This is fantastic. This is a huge increase in activity as we've come out of, as Aaron likes to call it, the panini, which I love as a term. So I think as we have really come forward, this really is good news. Like, there's a lot of really fun, healthy things there. Now, that said, we have had 220 total games recorded in a database since 2021. So that gives you a sense of, like, how we've ramped up, right? We have, let's take a look. We have currently 468 active PCs. So you can assume those are active players in the network. This gives you a size of how large Refuge is across our 7 chapters. 8 if you include the national event. So I'm going to go to Jen for the reaction. Jen, was this higher or lower than you were expecting? Not that you were expecting anything, because you didn't know what you were going to see.
It feels pretty like, I feel like that's about what not that I expected a number, but it doesn't underwhelm me or overwhelm me. It's not like, I thought we had more than that. It's not like, wildly more than I expected.
Okay.
Though I have a question. How are we defining active players? Is that they've been to an event once a year? Is that what you said earlier?
Correct. So what defines an active player? That doesn't include staff or national members. If you checked in as a PC since July 1st, 2023, you are counted in that number. So if
fantastic.
Right? So if you're I'm trying to think of somebody I can pick on who has if you're I don't know. If you're somebody who hasn't played since October of 2022, if we even had games then, you would not be in that number. Now, this number's actually gone up. I did a very similar report for the symposium this time last year, and it was in like the low 400s. So we have actually gone up. That's right. Brad, there you go. Thank you, Ryan. Brad. If you're Brad Lewis, you're not in that number because he has not played in the last 12 months. And keep the comments coming, friends, like in the chat. We will respond. Now, that said, so the reason why this number 464 matters, yes, he should come and fucking play. I agree. Brad, you hear me? Future Brad watching this on YouTube. 889 users have logged in. So we'll pick on Brad again, right? My homie Brad, who lives in Denver, who played Sir Eli, Lord of Andar. Originally from Seattle, then transferred to SLC, and still lives in Denver. So if Brad ever logged in and just to check his character or update or apply a blanket, he would be in that 889 bucket. So that's how many people are looking at our data and logging in and maybe doing things. Those are potential players. Yes, you need to kidnap him, Val. Absolutely. So this is a good, especially for my RPC lead, this is a really good understanding of okay, I have these 464 active people, but I have 889 potentially interested that already know the system, already know the game. And so that's what not that I'm picking on Jen, but I mean, right?
No, it's absolutely useful data.
It is.
Because one of the things from a player retention point of view that's really important is understanding if I bring X many players to their first game, how many of those are going to come back for a second?
Right.
How many are going to come back for a third? And the people who stick around for the second and the third game,
right,
that's they're set.
Yeah.
Right? We want to understand what makes someone decide that it's not for them. Right? And obviously some of those things we can't control, maybe just the timing, the budget, their health, all these things we can't do anything about that. But there are some, but maybe, understanding why some of those people don't come back helps us understand okay, maybe there's something about how accessible our rules are that we can improve to help someone stick around. Or maybe there's something about our culture that we can look at in terms of how we do check-ins and that sort of thing, right? So, it's super valuable to not. Yes, so that's basically, if we have 880 some database people and 460 some active, that means that we have essentially a 50% retention rate, which like is pretty good, all things considered, for an organization like this. Like I've seen retention rates much worse in other social groups.
Yeah.
So
and I, to that point, Twin Mask in Southern California has a retention rate of 5%. 5%. They get hundreds of new players every game. They don't retain them. But they have a very, very large game, so it's not a priority for them. Also, I do want to point out, because YouTube will comment on it later, this should be since July 1, 2023. That's an error on the text, not an error on the data. So thank you, Jen, for indulging me. I swear I did not. Jen literally has no idea what these slides are going to say, but I know.
Well, that, and I can't see them, so I am just like, I'm reacting blind.
Oh my God,
but
that's
it's fine. We're
it.
here. We're doing it.
I love it. Jen, you're the best. You're such a good sport. So the other thing I want to mention, so we had, in the last 12 months, 2,153 updated characters, right, in the database. So if you have alt-itis, right, I'm not going to pick out anybody in the crowd here, but I'm going to mention the name JJ, and at least people in Denver know who I'm talking about. So there are, of your friends, and you're like, oh shit, I have 6 characters on the database, and I'm blanking them over here, I'm doing over there. That 2,000 number includes your alt-itis. That's what that includes. But this gives us a sense of 2,000 active characters in the cosmology of the Realms of Refuge, which is super, super cool, right? I have 3 characters on the database. People talk about the fact that there's this concept in LARP, if you're new to LARP, this concept of muling, right? Where you have an XP mule, that maybe you're not playing that character necessarily, but maybe you're doing a lot of NPCing, Kendall. And you want to have some other cool characters ready for you when you go back into the PC side. I'm just saying, it's a good example. But 1,700 characters have checked into a live game, right? So this at least gives you guys a sense of the size of Refuge. That's really what this slide is intended, is just to give you a sense of the size of these of our network as a whole, right? Because you might be playing in San Francisco and maybe your game is not as big, right? And that's okay. There's a wider network for you as part of this. So, all right, I'm going to go forward. I want to also just give a quick shout out to SLC, who provided me with the memes for this particular presentation. So thank you. All memes were used with permission, including a special one that we'll get to in a bit here. Breakdown by chapters. So where did these games happen in the last 12 months? Remember, this includes day game data. Salt Lake City comes in at the tippy top with 12 games played in the last 12 months. Go SLC, you guys win the most games in the last 12 months, but I also really want to take a moment and congratulate San Francisco. San Francisco came roaring back after the Panini and did an incredible job of providing content to their players, despite having a site that is only tent camping that they actually share with a couple of other LARPs, Dystopia Rising among them. This is a huge success story. If you're not aware, San Francisco had, I think, 6 of the LARP sites for the entire San Francisco Bay Area burned down during, I think it was 2020. It was an incredible loss for the community, and it really took them to get their feet under them some time. So I just really want to take a moment and recognize the incredible work done by San Francisco to really come roaring back. So congratulations to them. So yay, round of applause, yay. Yeah, we do love San Francisco. And remember, again, these do include day games, and we're actually going to look at what the attendance were for each of these. And these are kind of a little bit vague. Obviously, they're color-coded, but this gives us a sense of participation, right? So nationals, obviously, I think we had 88 PCs check in somewhere in that ballpark, which was the largest game last year. No one is surprised by that. But Seattle has also come roaring back. They're seeing games in the 50s and the 60s in terms of, and this is PCs again. Remember, this does not in any way reflect NPCs or staff members. So if you have 25 PCs and 20 NPCs, obviously your game's going to feel much bigger. But this chart only shows characters that were checked in as PCs. So please keep that in mind. But this is a chart of success. This is our entire network coming roaring back. So I know Jen can't see this, but Jen, I'm going to toss to you for thoughts.
Well, thankfully, Roy is being very helpful and just sending me the JPEGs in DM. So thank you for that. I also, I mean, +1 to San Francisco coming back, like, to not only have a pandemic stacked against you, but losing so many sites to wildfires, like, that's just,
yep.
Yeah. You know, as a Seattle player, I can say that, like, I've definitely noticed, like, I only started playing this game when we were just coming back, you know, sort of after, you know, not post pandemic, because, you know, COVID's still out there, but, like, you know, as we were coming back to play after the break, and the numbers have wildly increased. You know, we're now regularly getting games between 80 to 90 players total, where when I started it was closer to like 60, right? And you know, we're so excited to have that. You know, looking at the numbers here, you know, there's just, you know, some wonderful health, it looks like, in terms of like people building up. And it does sort of build in that, like, I would love a way to be able to track NPC attendance a bit better, so that we could have that data too. Because really what we're looking at here is only half the picture.
Right.
And in, you know, Portland's number might look low, but Portland is notorious for having a very healthy NPC population and NPC guild. All the games I've been to with the highest PC NPC ratios have been in Portland. You know, and it's a phenomenal chapter as well. So yeah, no, all of this looks really great, and I definitely agree that, like, San Francisco coming back where they are now, like, you don't have to have the biggest numbers here to, like, really show, like, what the best improvement is and the best sort of recovery is, right? You know, I'm just so thrilled to, you know, see numbers, you know, sort of starting to grow back to a pre-pandemic kind of state.
Yeah. It's so exciting to see this, and I'm so proud of all of the board of directors and the owners. And all of their team members on the local level. This is really a credit to their hard work, their consistency. Those of you who are, I mean, that many of you in the audience are very, very active in your local chapters. You are the reason that we have numbers like this. You are bringing friends out. You are interacting with your community. This is why we continue to grow. So my hope is that next year we can look at these numbers again. So, most games played as PCs in the last 12 months. This award goes to Ryan, everyone's favorite Blue Wizard. Ryan as Luke Blue Wolf. No one is surprised. 18 games, ladies and gentlemen. But he is, I know, right? So, actually, Ryan won this award last year. I announced who, because I checked to see, like, who had attended the most games in the last 12 months. And these are in order, friends. Like, so with tippy top, Luke Blue Wolf with 18 games, but everybody on this page has attended at least 10 games. Doesn't matter if they're day games or whole weekends. But I have to tell you, someone hug Isaac in SLC for me, because I'm so proud of Isaac. Like, I just really given Ryan a run for his money, and Isaac is actually a steward for an airline, and Ryan still beat him out. So this is just fantastic. I cannot express how much this brings me joy. These are some of our top participants. So well done. Niobe made the list, Jen.
Did she? Okay, I haven't. Oh, okay. I'm getting the slide now.
You get the slide. You get the slide. You're like, who's on it?
Oh gosh.
You're on this list.
Oh, she made it.
Yeah.
That feel. Oh, this might be. I think LARP might be a big part of my life. I don't know.
Right? You're like, oh shit, I'm on the list. Oh shit, I'm on the list.
Yeah, no, I've attended over 10 events in the last 12 months.
Congratulations.
Okay, yep.
And again, remember.
Yeah, this looks great.
Yeah, I think this is fantastic. I had joked about this in the SLC chat earlier kind of this week, because, you know, while you're working on database polls, you have to babble at people in Discord. Those are the rules. But I do want to say thank you to these folks who are very active in their local communities. So thank you. Yeah, we'll move right on. So I do want to give a special shout out just real quick. This is Noob Mama. If you do not follow Noob Mama on Instagram, Noob Mama is a huge...
Oh, so good.
Right? And this was actually used with permission. So I think Roy dropped off, but one of our, I asked for memes, and somebody went and asked Noob Mama if we could actually use their comic book art. So this was actually used with permission, which super brings me joy.
Yes.
This is something that I get asked for all the time. Characters active in the last 12 months, ladies and gentlemen. Breakdown by species. So the top species in all of Refuge is missing after the database reset. Literally the top species, I think it's 89 players that are active, have not gone into the database and chosen a species. I thought this was super funny. The numbers here, please do take them with a grain of salt. The biggest race or species inside of Refuge is too busy to choose your species. That's we can do better, folks. But that said, humans are in the lead. Kin are right behind them, but it is a neck and neck race, and then our Saladrin friends are behind that. So it is only a matter of time before Kin truly take over the realms of Refuge as the once and future kings, queens, and emperor monarchs. I'm like, I know there's an NB gender neutral term. I'm like, monarch. There we go. Yeah. Stone elves, not so much, friends. Not. Where's Rachel? Rachel was in the chat earlier, like, yeah, this is not surprising for many of you. But I was impressed to see how many dryads we have. Dryads and elves, but I definitely think you either want all of the costume inconvenience or none of it. That seems to be what this tells us. Jen, thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's, you know, I think the two biggest ones being either human, where you do absolutely no work, or kin, where you have to do so much work, is like, it's hilarious and such a big mood. It makes total sense to me why there's not a lot of stone elves, just in that, like, so many people come to Refuge for, like, you know, they come to LARP in general to do emotional expression,
right?
And having us, and like, I think that people I know who do play stone elves, really enjoy it, but it is a very particular challenge.
Yeah.
As a Stellarian player, I'm happy with our numbers. I feel like we're like about middle of the pack, you know. I feel like we're a good place. And it is interesting to me that some of the species that do mental role play and sort of mental abilities are on the lower end, because at least it's in Portland and in Seattle, I feel like, well, not Seattle as much. In Portland, there's definitely a higher percentage of Avani by quite a bit.
And we're actually going to see I think I put the breakdown by chapter. I might have put it in here, or somebody requested, and I may not have gotten around to it. I do have some chapter breakdowns, but if you play a kin, drop a picture in the chat. Val.
Val.
Yeah,
that mask combo with the paint and that's so good.
If so don't let Val be the only one. Not that Val doesn't rep the kin with amazing finesse and grace. But if you play a kin as well, drop it in the chat. Corin, I see you've come off mute. So any initial thoughts on kind of the species breakdown?
Oh, just that, like, somebody else has described species as a way to have your OC generator, and kin are the most OC of the OCs in most cases, so I'm not terribly surprised by that.
Yeah, they also have just the most versatility in terms of, it's like, I'm a Solarian. I have to have gems in this specific region of my face. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to be one of any of these animals. And there's so many animals. You could be literally any of the millions of animals that exist as a person. There's just the flexibility of that.
It's true. I have an owlkin myself on the books. Lafayette has not been played yet in Refuge, but was a port over from Alliance, with a mask that's actually made by the same artist that you see Val wearing in the chat. So, all right. Nope. Let's try this one more time. There we go.
Platypus kin with claws that have poison caches and triggers. Yes.
Oh, I'm here.
That's a great idea.
I am here for a platypus kin. So this is just another look at characters active in the last 12 months. This just breaks it down by percentage. Again, our missing reset friends are almost 20% of the player base. Humans come in at 12%. Stone elves are literally 1.3%. It's really just a couple of people holding it down for the stone elves. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, I'm here for the platypus kins. Like, can we just... Yeah. Alright, so let's talk about classes now. This is where people this gets spicy, friends. This gets so spicy. Refuge by class. Ladies and gentlemen, no one is surprised that 34% of our active player base are scholars. I know. Shocked. Truly. My flagship PC is a scholar. Corin, Jen, what are your PCs? Your flagship PCs, to be clear.
I mean, I have a fighter, a spell sword, and a scholar.
My only PC is a scholar.
Okay, so
my active PC is the scholar, but I'm mostly NPCing.
I know you're NPCing. So in the chat, friends, like, drop your opinions. Also, Earth clearly winning the race. There is a long, hot debate about which is better, Celestial or Earth, but clearly our scholars, at least that are actively playing, have chosen Earth, myself as well. Jen, Corin, are you Celestialists or are you Earthcasters?
Celestial.
Okay.
Also Celestial.
Oh, okay, all right.
Although that is primarily because my first character was an Ivana and had no Celestial whatsoever.
So drop it in the chat, friends. Let us know what you're playing on your flagship character, on the one that you play the most, the one that would have probably been represented in this. Like, I think, I gotta tell you, Corin, what were we saying earlier that was a surprise? Is that the artisans outnumber the adepts?
Oh, yeah.
That's me less, but then we're gonna get into spicy conversations, and I got things to do after this too, so I can't stay forever. But
that's okay. We will keep you as long as we can.
We don't have time to unpack all of that.
Right? By the way, friends in the chat, if there's something that surprises you about this, put it in the chat. We'd love to react to it. But I am deeply entertained by this chart. So where are these characters playing, and is there a favorite class regionally, right? This was something that I was super, super, super curious about. Whereas Seattle definitely favors scholars, Salt Lake likes their bonks. Like, I found that to be really, really interesting. And then Calgary, coming in with the spell swords, really thought it was super interesting to see that consistency across those three classes. So Canada, I really think, is holding the line for spell swords. Like, really, really interesting that our pals north of the border are kind of going in that direction. But you can kind of get a sense from this regionally what we're looking at. So, and Seattle is in fact filled with nerds. Thanks, Val. That's very on point. Salt Lake bonks hard. Thanks, Kendall. This was, yeah. I thought this was super interesting. I wanted to give people kind of a quick perspective. This does include visitors, though, so if you're Ryan, you're represented in every single one of these charts. All right. So, I did say we talk a little bit about Hybees. Huge credit to Seattle, SLC, who's going through their end of the world plot at the moment. But let's take a look at Hybees. We talk a lot about Hybees as the board of directors. There are less than 20 characters over level 40 in our network. That's less than 4% of the game, friends. But 90% of those individuals are in Seattle and San Francisco. So remember that when you're having conversations about this game, right? The game is not 40 and over, level 40 and over. I mean, I'm 40 and over and still playing this game, but that's neither here nor there. But that's not the majority of the game. It's really the one of my many minorities from a data set. But I think that it's also important to just level set with those things, right? But if we do take a look at those characters, what are they? Fun fact, they're scholars, 50% of them. Scholars and scouts. And they're kin, ladies and gentlemen. They're kin. So, the kin may not have won out on the overall, but they are definitely winning the Hybe game. The kin uprising, I will agree with Val that once you buy a mask and you buy into those really expensive posh masks, I feel like you kind of buy in forever. But I did want to at least provide this incredibly wacky set of data. So I put this together. There's always so much more data to pull out of the database, but I wanted to at least share some of the stuff before I step down as president, because then I will lose access to the database, and then I can't do stupid shit like this anymore for you guys, unless the board of directors chooses fit to let me do that. We should make decisions as a community, not just based on anecdotal instance like this one time at LARP camp, but instead based on larger data sets. I know I'm preaching to the choir for many of you on this call, but yeah, I want to toss to Jen and Corin for any final thoughts or comments, questions, stuff. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Yeah. I'm curious what the chat would be interested as far as like magic item data.
Ooh.
It's possible to pull it. It takes a little more work. But what burning questions do you have about the data set of magic item use in our game?
Oh my god, the chat's lighting on fire, Corin. Hold on, they're typing. I think you said...
Who is the longest tag in the database?
I can answer that for you literally right now.
Oh my god. I want that tag. Who has the wonkiest negative effect in play?
The wonkiest negative effect in play? Oh man.
Like stuff like that.
Like LCS and flaw stuff.
Oh my god.
Well, and on a serious note with magic items, like it's arguable at a certain, like, at different level thresholds that a like bonkers powerful magic item is way more powerful than like gaining levels, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so when we're talking about trying to like power balance the game, and we talk about, you know, Hybees and all these different things, I feel like so often the conversation only centers around you know, sort of like who has the highest XP and who has the most innate abilities, when like magic items should also be a part of that conversation. So I would love to see that kind of data.
We have a huge amount of response on arcane armors, it looks like.
Yeah.
So
the only other thing oh, so go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm literally just like looking at the chat reading stuff. Sorry.
No, I thought I heard Corin gonna step in with more stuff, and I wanted to make space for that. Oh, okay. No, I think it's really interesting that, like, there is a lot of conversation that happens around Hybees, and knowing statistically that it is 4% or less of the population of the entire game does put things into perspective. I think there's we have a thing in our brains called recency bias, which is just that what we see in front of us is what we think is the norm, right? So in Seattle, where there are a lot of players who are in that 4%, it really, like, it changes how players in that see the entire game of Refuge because of what that feels like in our specific community. Which isn't to say that there have not been efforts from plot to, like, handle that balance, because obviously when you have someone who is a level 54 character and someone who's playing their first game at level 2, like, you cannot balance encounters for both of those people at the same time, right?
It's hard.
But but there have absolutely been,
well, maybe you can if you're the one true plot team.
The one true
plot team. I want that made as t-shirts. Like,
somebody else made that comment during the last Fireside, and I have appropriated it permanently.
I mean, if we sell t-shirts, we could use the profits from the t-shirts to fund the national organization.
That's got to be a lot of t-shirts. Like,
yeah, there's unfortunately a lot of, like, overhead associated with merchandise like that.
But you'd have to mark it up to make a profit, which means it'd be more expensive, which we're playing. But, like,
it's also minimums are a big issue, is what I've heard.
But
sure. But anyway,
sorry, not trying to hijack.
No, you're fine. You're fine. We're vibing. We're hanging out. We're being casual. But yeah, absolutely. I just think that, like, it's interesting to have this conversation, and also because a lot of these players who are 40 plus are the most active players who have been around this community for years and years. They're also often the most vocal people who speak up and participate in conversations online and in at games. Again, there's that idea that, like, so often that newer players have, like, oh, so they control and it's like, no, they don't control everything. They're not. That's not but it's hard to sometimes see that, just because of, again, like, the bias we have of what we see in front of us is the only truth, right? And not looking at what we're not seeing. Yeah. So I think it's good data to have that in perspective.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. Like, I play a white belt, right? And I never consider myself a Hybe because I'm not over level 40. I'm not in that level 50, like, 1%ers club. But at the same time, I do feel like I'm a Hybe because I have been playing the game for such a long time. I just didn't start blanketing and back buying until 7 years in. Like, I literally just did not. I only bought the games that I attended. I didn't do any of the back buying. And then I was like, oh, other people who've been playing this longer are in the 30s. Shit. So, but I do think the majority of our game is sitting between, like, the teens and the 30s, and that's kind of the bell curve. Now, I can't say that with certainty because the way that the database records XP is a little weird. So, like, I can't say that with absolute certainty. So please, friends, take that with a large lump of salt. But thanks, Kendall. Appreciate you. But yeah, I do play a fancy white belt. I was queen for a day. It was a weird day. But all this to say, I do think we would like to continue to do more data-based dives so that we are empowering you, the player base, with information, and your logistics teams too, right? Like, this isn't just about you guys as a community, but also your plot teams. And if your plot team is looking at 100 players and they're like, everyone is over level 40, I will design this encounter for everyone over level 40. Like, it's no one's gonna have a good time, right? So I think that there's an opportunity here on a longer timeline for our local plot teams, logistics teams, directors to say, what is the true composition of my game? If I have 50% scholars and they're all in the teens, and like, what is that? Okay, should I be designing games for that? You know? I don't know the answer to that.
That is a problem for the plot teams.
Yes, that's a
And
problem.
I do not envy.
Nope.
I say being on a plot team.
I don't do any
Yeah,
of that.
you're on a level clap plot team.
Yeah,
You got an easy
no,
mode.
I have the least problem of anyone who has to deal with this. We just have to deal with the balance of what classes show up. Everyone comes under the level cap, so we're good. And with that, I'm running late to my next thing, so I'm gonna pop out here.
Jen,
but,
thank you.
Yes, it's been so fun. Thank you for sharing this data, Juliet. It's so good. And I think it's just great to have these conversations. And I look forward to seeing everybody in the future. And I'll leave it to you two to wrap it up.
Thank you. Can I get a round of applause for Jen, who did an amazing job totally being thrown blind into a very, very high level conversation? There we go. Jen, thank you so much. And my apologies for imposing on your time, but you have been a fantastic sport and a great host.
You're fine. And thank you everyone for being very sweet and kind. And yeah, no, have a good wrap up as you get to the end here.
Thank you. We are wrapping up here, ladies and gentlemen, but as always, I do want to open it for Q&A questions. You have both Corin and I here who are happy to answer questions if we can. They can be questions that are ridiculous, or they can be questions about future data polls, whatever you'd like. I'll open it up in the chat. I see several of you typing, which is somewhat concerning, but that's okay. It's fine. I have more mead. It's fine. How many drinks am I making for Elevere in August? Fuck. A lot, Val. All of them. So, I need the one that kills senators at a minimum, and then the lavender one. Those two at least. I'd like bottles of each of those. I will be traveling to Wyoming to participate in the SLC Ethereum Closer in late August. For those of you who are familiar with that campaign, please do come join us. And then the week afterwards is the regional event with Boise and Portland. So if you have not looked at that amazing regional event, please be sure to check that out. Holy shit, we're doing...
Visit the Bumbleverse.
The Bumbleverse. Oh,
have a vacation.
Is that where the Bumbleverse is? Ryan was telling me about the Bumbleverse. I didn't know that's where it was. Oh shit.
That is where the Bumbleverse will be at that point in time. Yes.
Okay. And what is the Bumbleverse, Corin? For those who aren't familiar.
Oh gosh. I was on the online event team that came up with this. The Bumbleverse is a little kind of pocket realm that bounces around, and sometimes you get picked up by it, and things happen, and nothing bad happens ever. It's just a nice vacation spot. They have a travel agency now, staffed entirely by bees.
I'm gonna drink more of my meat. Allegedly there are smoothies in the Bumbleverse. Okay, let me scroll back up. Hold on. Let's see. What was the other question? If you had to choose to change your main character into a kin, if they are not one already, what kin would they be? Corin? You're like, I don't fucking know.
Hold on. Character into a kin, and they are not one already. I mean, I have to think about that one real hard. Like, all of my characters have strong relations with their species, and one of them is a kin, so...
So, one of mine is a kin. I have a kin on the books named Lafayette. And then I have a dwarf on the books that I'm looking at for the Ghostlands campaign in SLC. But Val is correct. If I had to change my flagship character, Elevere, they would be a lioness. Like, she 100% is... She was born a noble. She has only ever been a noble. Noble, all the way through. So a lioness is very fitting. Yeah, that was correct. I had the same thought. See, now the chat is like blowing up. You guys are so funny. Like, everybody's super quiet in the beginning of the call, and then towards the end, you're all like, typey. I love you guys. You're awesome. What about that NPC that you always play, Corin? The fun makeup one with the like.
Oh, Cyrene?
Yeah.
The Stellarian Banshee?
Yes. If they had to be a kin, who would they be?
Oh, that's a good one. I just couldn't come up with...
Like, I see like a Bast style headdress, like a cat, like a dark cat. Ryan, you're the only person I know who thinks that dolphins are assholes. That's...
No, they are. It's a fact.
Do I have to Google this? Is this
especially the dolphins in Paula. The amphibious land dolphins.
What? I'm sorry, what?
That is the correct response.
Their leader swung for Shatter Spirit. Wow. What the fuck are you guys doing up there? Like, what the... Dolphins? Land
Nonsense.
dolphins. Why is this a thing? Help. Dolphins are menaces. I clearly need to get up to the Pacific Northwest and play more. That's what I've learned from this. So.
Yes, you do.
Land sharks were a thing in Denver. And I want to say in San Francisco. Yes, the not amphibious land sharks. There we go. So Boise has land sharks. Yeah, this is definitely a whole moment, friends. Fruit fly kin. Wow, Roy, that's a... So, there is a kin that was suggested to me. I will not name names, but they're on this call. And centipede kin.
Oh.
Just saying. Just gonna put that out there. Darcy is sharing Naga. Okay, so we got Naga. We have land shark repellent. Wow. Okay, friends. This is definitely... I love this community. I really do. You guys are very... you come up with some of the best shit. Holy crap. I just cannot get over a dolphin swinging for Shatter Spirit. That's really, really inappropriate. Dingo kin. So I have a friend who's working on a corgi kin for a different game. And they're turning their corgi into a knight. So they're going to be like this adorable corgi knight who's just like everyone's best friend. And I really thought that was a super cute kind of vibe. There's also in Alliance Chicago, there is a puppy squire or puppy knight. There's a guy who plays this very, very sweet earth channeling healer. And he's just there to save everybody. And he is the most adorable little golden retriever. And I don't remember his name. Is that Rusty? Maybe it was Rusty. The puppy squire back. Yeah, the goodest boy. Like, there are some really cute kin concepts. I will say that Denver had a moth kin, who was just adorable and all soft fabrics, and the wings were beautiful. I have seen some very good moth kin over the last few years. We did have the Jackalope twins, who were adorable. Okay, Boise's got a moth. Okay, there we go. Like, I do agree.
I've seen several of those.
Right, hey, there's the one of our jackalopes. And Val in an earlier version of Illusion Mask, or a cooler from a airflow standpoint version of that mask. Yeah, we had an overabundance of kin in the Denver chapter, just so it's said. Like, we had a lot. And they were mostly like wolves and foxes and kind of the less imaginative, I guess, other than the jackalopes. They were all pretty consistent. I think we had the muntjac, the deer. A lot of woodland creatures. I guess that's what you get when you're kind of up in the mountains, though. Sorry, I'm just reading everybody's. I wouldn't say unhinged, Kendall. They're just we said it earlier on the call that this is the OC, like the original content species or lineage, and I think that's why people really lean in super, super hard if they've got kind of this more avant-garde concept. We had a kin tea house in Denver. That's true. We had a tea house entirely run by just kin characters. They served the best tea. Fantastic. Okay, hold on. My question would be, is if you would allow a pickle dryad to be played. No.
What?
I asked in the chat, would you allow a pickle dryad? And my answer is no. But I'm not an owner. And I'm not on a plot team. And I only play once a year. So my opinion on this topic? Roy evidently is super on board.
I don't see why not.
A pickle dryad? Corin, tell me why.
Because if somebody wants to play a Venus flytrap dryad, that's cool, and I have no rejoinder as to why they can do that and not play a pickle dryad. So,
okay, hear me out. All right, here's my explanation. When you pickle something, it's dead. Right? You're putting it in a jar.
That's true. That's true. I always forget this. Okay, no, you can play a cucumber dryad, not a pickle dryad.
Yeah, I'm good with a cucumber, and I love pickles, friends. I love pickling things, like I really, really do. Always buy a jar of pickles, or some pickled whatever, and bring it with you to LARP. It will actually help you get electrolytes back. Like, this is your safety tip. It's 114 degrees outside here in Las Vegas. Please, drink the pickle brine, eat the pickles, eat pickled things while you are LARPing. It is super, super good for you. Also sports beans. Magic beans are awesome for LARPing. But cucumber dryad, super on board. Pickle dryad, I draw the line there. And I'm the biggest pickle fan you will meet.
Okay, I've got it. Cyrene would be probably either like a coral snake kin or a wasp kin.
Ooh.
I'm betting wasp kin.
I really love that. Well, this took a weird turn.
I've ever seen one.
Always the back end of these calls are like, I'm like, do we just put timestamps on these on YouTube so that people can hear the weird shit? Like, pickle dryad might as well be the thing for this call, just like we had the Green Lantern last month.
I mean, if people make it memes, we can get it trending.
Right? Come on. RPC needs this shit. All right, friends. It is 7:20 something. Do you have any other actual questions that you would like to ask? Otherwise, I am going to call this one and start making dinner, maybe. Going once. I'm waiting. I can see Roy typing. I can see Ryan typing. Okay. No, Ryan's just saying, you're welcome. So, as always...
Didn't Roy have another question about... Or somebody, I don't know.
Roy, did we miss something? And if we missed something, friends, please tell us in the chat. Like... Roy, okay, help me out. Help me out, friend. Help me out. What was your question? Well, you asked about arcane armor. I don't know how many people are using it. Like, I can't answer that question.
No, I can't look that up right now.
Oh, you can?
Like, that's a thing that might be in a future. That's why I was asking.
Oh, okay.
But also had asked about if there could be a discussion about reverting the spell store change and instead have it be LCS. Since most of the game Hyvies are in one place, and my guess most of their concerns are coming from there. This could give Lobby spells to be more useful in fights for longer. it's not a discussion that's come up. There is like one thing we are going to be doing is the board of directors is going to be having a digital symposium and later this year in September. And one of the things that we're going to have a big old long talk about is the future of magic items in our game, because what we found after RRC took some of the requests from BOD related to magic items is that like balancing magic items across the board is complicated and really it's really hard to do piecemeal. So that can be something that I can try to remember to bring up, or ways that we could find to make that balance work again, maybe with some sort of limit on the usage.
Okay.
So I didn't know that's not the answer you were really hoping for here, but is that answer your question for now?
Roy, does that help? I'll let you while you're typing a response, Roy. Mitch, let me answer that really quickly. The database is done on like the programmatically on Ruby on Rails. It's just hosted on Heroku. We also use DreamHost for email and website hosting. And then the front end is also, I think, Ruby on Rails. Like our database is, I don't know if it's HTML. Like anything that you see when you log into the database is just the database. Like it's not, there's not some pretty GUI on top of it. Oh no. So Tech Ninja, who is Ike, it's just people throw questions in the chat live, so it's more like a Twitch stream, and then we publish it to YouTube. So that's why you see us interacting with the chat, because you can hear us, we can't hear you, but we read the chat, and so people ask questions. So we prompt people to ask questions. So there's no like, and Roy mentioned, oh shit, this because if people start getting really chatty, then obviously Corin and I don't necessarily see it. So that's why you see us kind of bebopping back and forth between the chat. So totally reasonable. Roy, thank you. Glad that satisfies. And Mitch, our RTC friends are also always happy to answer additional tech stack questions. So yeah, okay. Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for tuning in, friends. As always, this will appear on YouTube when our RPC friends have the opportunity to upload it and when my computer allows me to transfer it into where it needs to be. Please do join us next month. There's definitely if you go up to the event, you can actually sign up for the August one, which is already published. So if you go into the National channel, please feel free to click on that. Thank you, Kendall. You are on top of shit. Other than that, have a fantastic game if you have a game this weekend. Otherwise, please stay cool, stay hydrated, and be good to your fellow LARPers. And please do to like hug a plot member, consensually hug a plot member, a logistics person, your directors, your fellow players. We are one big community. Not just numbers in a database. So with that, give them a taco, as Ryan says. All hail the taco. Thank you, Corin, as always, for everything that you do. And
thank you.
Yay, my pleasure. Thank you to Jen, who joined us, mostly being voluntold with very little notice and no context. Just, again, A+ to Jen. It's just like, catch. Join us next month when we actually have Lizzie, and we're going to talk about financials. Like the real
for
shit.
The national org.
For the national org. Those of you who've reached out and are like, hey, where does your money go? Like, really, for reals, what does it cost to run the network? Like, those questions will be answered. We wanted to do this for a long time. Lizzie is an absolute goddess. And so we have been so blessed with one of the best LARP financiers I've ever met. So join us next month. Other than that, we love you, Refuge. Take care. Thanks again.
Bye.